My immediate reaction is take your kids out of these schools.
The Maryland State Department of Education has released the 2022 state test results, known as MCAP, Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. Baltimore City's math scores were the lowest in the state. Just 7% of 3rd through 8th graders tested proficient in math.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about 23 Baltimore, Maryland schools that have 0 students proficient in math. Now, I presume right now in 2023, the bar to become quote unquote proficient in math is not that high. I know it's not as high as it was back in the day. You got all these relaxing standards, and we're trying to have equality. We're trying to have the racial gap close, all this and that and the third. So the bar can't be that high to jump over. So why do we have 23 Baltimore schools with 0 students proficient in math? Is it a money thing? The state of Maryland has plenty of money, so why is the money not really going to where it should go? Can the money fix it? Who's to blame? Is it the parents, the students, the teachers, all the above? 2 out of 3? Nobody? What's going on? Now, before I go any further, let's go ahead and roll a clip. This comes from the news out there in Baltimore, and I think they, I guess you would say, partnered with Project Baltimore, and they uncover quite a few things like this. I'll link to this description. I'll link to this video in the description box below. If you're watching on IG, please go to the link in the bio, go to the website and the corresponding article. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Baltimore City is facing a devastating reality as the latest round of state test scores are released.
Our Project Baltimore team analyzed the results, and as Chris Papps reports, there's a shocking number of city schools where not a single student is doing math at grade level.
I see the brightness of Baltimore kids.
It's now been more than a year.
We're not living up to our potential.
Since Giovanni Patterson made national headlines by suing Baltimore City schools for failing to properly educate generations of students.
We, the taxpayer, are funding our own demise.
Patterson was born here. He has seen the failures firsthand. But what Project Baltimore just told him at first rendered him speechless.
My immediate reaction is take your kids out of these schools.
The Maryland State Department of Education has released the 2022 state test results.
Now, before we get into the test results and whatnot, I just wanted to address a few things, maybe some elephants in the room. Some are going to say, well, hey, maybe it's not the schools, maybe it's the kids. Maybe the kids just are not going to be able to learn. It doesn't matter where you put them. They're coming from these hood schools. They're black or whatever it is. They're not going to be able to learn. I reject that notion. I come from hood schools too in Virginia, and we knew how to add 2 + 2. We knew how to read very well. All I have right now is an associate's degree. That's all I have. I'm not some super well-educated person. Now, some are going to be super geniuses in the comments. Oh, we know, ABL, you're not that smart. The point is, I come from hood environments where somebody might expect me to not even know how to read or to be able to count, but obviously I can. So at a certain point, we can't just say these kids are doomed. We can fix this, but I think there's a lot more to it than just the school system. Let's go ahead and continue.
Known as MCAP, Maryland Comprehensive Assessment Program. Baltimore City's math scores were the lowest in the state. Just 7% of 3rd through 8th graders tested proficient in math. That means 93% could not do math at grade level. But that's not all we found. Project Baltimore combed through scores at all 150 city schools where the state math test was given. We found in 23 Baltimore City schools, there were 0 students who tested proficient in math. Not a single student.
Is this why you filed your lawsuit, because of outcomes like this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It just sounds like these schools now have turned into essentially babysitters with no accountability.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And you know what? I did a video about Baltimore before. Well, I've done a few videos about Baltimore before, but one video I did about Baltimore before was about the school called Augusta Fell Savage. And if I'm saying that wrong, y'all please correct me in the comments. But this school had a student who ranked middle of the class. I think he was number 61 out of 120. His GPA was 0.13. He ranked middle of the class with that GPA. He wasn't even going to school. These schools are completely useless. If your valedictorian is struggling to read during the graduation ceremony that they put online, if she's struggling to read, you have an endemic problem that is going to be very hard to solve.
This is the future of our city. Like we got to change this.
Among the list of 23 schools, here's how the numbers break down. 10 of them are high schools. 8 are elementary schools. 3 are middle high schools. And 2 are elementary middle schools. Exactly 2,000 students in total took the state math test at these schools, and not one could do math at grade level.
These kids can't do math. You're not preparing them to buy groceries. You're not preparing them to do accounting, to count their own money.
We're getting advanced actually, because schools don't teach that anyway. Schools not going to really tell you how to balance a checkbook. That's kind of an old thing to say, but they're not really going to tell you about finance on that level. You got to really learn that kind of on your own, or go to college and really focus on that. But we're talking about, you're not even going to be able to do basic addition. What's 2 plus 2? I'm talking about the most basics. You're going to be counting on your fingers if you can't do math at grade level. And then again, I want to know what grade level is. I'm sure the bar has been lowered as it relates to what proficiency really means when you're talking about K through 12 education.
You're not preparing them to read contracts and negotiate salaries.
Nah.
We made the largest investment in public education by any governor in our state's history.
That's a new
Governor Wes Moore, last week, in his first State of the State address, made his feelings about public education clear. It's one of his top priorities.
We can no longer separate our vision for economic prosperity.
Oh, this guy's a smooth talker, ain't he? Smooth talker. He's from Baltimore as well. Okay, fun fact. Smooth talker, perfect politician. Is he going to be able to fix anything? Is he going to make a difference? I'm not really sure.
From the duty to make Maryland's public schools the best in the nation.
After his State of the State address, Project Baltimore reached out to Moore's office, asking to speak with him about his plan to improve education. Before becoming governor, Moore lived in Baltimore. We wanted to ask him how he plans to help city students, especially those who attend these 23 schools. Governor Moore's office did not respond, but city schools did send us a statement with steps it's taking to improve math scores, including professional development for teachers, summer learning, and an extended learning period at the end of the day.
Okay, so let's pause right here. So expanded math, professional development for teachers. So are they trying to give these classes to teachers to help them know math more so they can teach their students better? Okay. Summer learning with a focus on academic recovery. So summer school, basically. Okay. Literacy and math. So reading and writing, writing, and arithmetic. Extended learning period at the end of the day at all schools. Well, the problem at a lot of these schools is that the kids aren't going. So what is an extended day going to do if they're not going to the school to begin with? Doesn't make any sense.
The statement said, "We're confident these instructional strategies will help us regain the momentum and progress we experienced before the pandemic."
0%.
So they're blaming the pandemic for the lack of, I think the pandemic is not really to blame. The pandemic, sure, definitely stunted some students' development, of course, but I don't think that is to blame for the scores being the way they are. For no students testing proficient in math at grade level, out of 2,000 students, I think that's something else.
What are you preparing these kids for? Are we expecting these kids to kill off themselves? I mean, we see the number of teen shootings happening just this year. What jobs are we preparing these kids for? That's the future.
Within the state testing data, we found 3 additional Baltimore City schools with 0 students proficient in math. One is a school for incarcerated youth. The other 2 are for students with disabilities. We did not include them in the list of 23 schools. It's also worth pointing out, we found an additional 20 schools that had just 1 or 2 students who were proficient in math.
Okay, so that's from Project Baltimore and Fox 45 News out there in Baltimore. There's a lot there, but let me just give my final thoughts on it. Then I wrap it on up, put the bow on the top. This is a problem that extends beyond the school system. It's not just the schools, it's not just the teachers. It's really the parents. That's the first line of defense, is the parents. And to explain the gap between black and white kids, I'm going to tell you this. Now, I was told this a long time ago by my dad because he was really, involved in education and in the community. He was saying that a lot of black kids, their parents just don't care. The parents don't care. So basically, they think it's the government's job to educate the kids. The kid will be 5 or 6 years old with nothing, no education, no prior education. He can't read his own name. He can't write his own name. He can't count to 10. He can't do anything. He is a completely blank slate when he goes to kindergarten. But the white kids have their mom at home or somebody teaching them early. They might have been involved in preschool, some kind of program before K through 12 starts. So they can count to 10, count to 100. They can color in the lines. They have some skill before they get to K through 12 school. So they're already ahead of the kids who have not had that. And at the end of the day, that's the parents' responsibility, not the teachers. So when the kids go to K through 12 and everybody has nothing, the teachers, a lot of times in these schools, aren't prepared for that. They're in the ghetto school. They probably don't want to be there anyway. They're not really the best teachers all the time. So it's a challenge. And the parents continue to not care all throughout school. So if the kid's not going to class, if the kid's just smoking crack, doing whatever they want to do, selling drugs, shooting, they don't care. So what? Report cards ain't even getting checked or signed or anything. So the parents don't care. The students don't care because nobody else cares. They're not even really going to school. They know it's worthless to go. They're not going to learn anything. It's just kind of useless. And the teachers are just there collecting the check. And the teachers that do really care and they want to make a difference can't because nobody else does. It's just a bad cycle. Now, I'm not really sure what kind of cash you can throw at that to fix it. But the problem starts with the parents. And as long as you got these trifling parents that don't care about their kids, this issue will continue and fester. It'll just get worse. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What do you think is a problem here? Is it the teachers, the students, the parents? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is the parents' fault because the parents are bringing the kids into the kids don't ask to come into the world. It's the parents' responsibility to raise these children right, to get them prepared for K through 12, to guide them through their academic career. It's their fault. And when you got schools full of kids who parents just don't care, who are halfway morons themselves, you're not going to have a very good environment. Even the kids that want to do right, that want to do well, are placed in an environment where they can't really do as well as what they should be able to. And it's just that simple. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.